lives overlapped and informed each other from different generations. And I was thinking actually mother and daughter. And I was reading Andre Dubus III's book Talkin, and it's about his life growing up in Haverhill, and he briefly mentions the Hanna Dustin statue. I think there's literally one or two, and he happened to be visiting, and I said, and it mentioned it was the first statue in America dedicated to a woman. I thought, how can I not know this? I'm a feminist. I live locally, grew up locally. How do I not know about the statue? So we talked a little bit about it, and it just stuck in my head. I researched the story, and I knew immediately that worked with the framework I was thinking about. And what first intrigued me about the story is that it was the question of why she's scalped. So basically, Hanna Dustin was kidnapped by Abenaki Indians in 1697 off her farm in Haverhill. And she was taken for a 6-week march with her nursemaid, with her nurse. She had just had a baby. Her baby was murdered instantly, like within probably hours. And they were marched they walked 12 miles the first day. She had one shoe on. And they ended up 6 weeks later in Canada, killed all their captors. And that's the basic story. And she's a complex, kind of ugly character, and I'm drawn to that. I want to write about women who have these warts, who have these terrible contradictions. This is a woman who crossed the line between civilization and savagery. And I use that really thematically as what ties together my contemporary and historic characters. So probably that point of crossing that line, and how do you live with it? And that's what got to me in that story and what made me want to know more. And I think as soon as I saw that piece and the fun of weaving the worlds, that made me feel like you're so funny because you're a playwright. You have all these ideas, and something will just hit you, and that's the one. I always think I'll write one of these 4 or 5 things next, and something will make me say that's it. So, and I think it maybe was that opportunity for the magical realism and the fact that she's a complex person.
Yeah.
So what intrigued me, what really got me, was really how many different versions and perspectives there are in this story. And the more I read, the more I realized as time goes on, and depending on the background of the person writing the piece, the story is so different. And I became much more intrigued with how, when we tell our histories, but also our personal narratives, the way we tell a story, the story we tell tells somebody listening to it so much more about who we are than what actually happened. And that's really what is at the heart of this play. And it kind of parallels historic narratives and personal narratives and the lies we tell ourselves, and also the price we pay when we really can't look at something dead on and acknowledge responsibility. So that's sort of, and it is a big complex story. So it kind of goes from that simple story in the plaque to, much broader issues.